Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hakuōki Stories of the Shinsengumi. I bet you never thought you'd be able to see the end of this tale, but here we are 2 years later. So I would like to finish this main route for Hijikata. Will Chizuru find her father? Will she manage to figure out what to do with her feelings about Hijikata? If you're not sure what all this is about, but would quite like to follow along, I suggest you may want to start at the beginning with chapter 1, and in the description there is information and a link to where you can find the other videos. So let's pick up the story where we left off in chapter 7, when Hijikata was seriously injured and they ferried him away to Nikko, where Chizuru is looking after him. Since we'd arrived in Nikko, I'd busied myself doing my best to take care of him. As a fury, most normal medication had little to no effect on him. Most of my nursing therefore consisted of fervently hoping that his natural strength and tenacity would bring him through. Fortunately, my prayers seemed to pay off, and in time his wounds began to heal, although those made by Kazama's demon slayer did not do so easily or quickly. I found myself thinking back to the Battle of Utsunomiya. After watching Hijikata in battle, the same soldiers who had been too frightened to fight just minutes before had run to cross swords with the enemy. Afterward, they had told him that it was an honor to fight alongside the Shinsengumi, for they were true samurai. Hijikata, you are the core of the Shinsengumi. Without you, there is no Shinsengumi. So please, you can't die. Several days later, I walked into Hijikata's room to change his bandage and was brought up short by what I saw. Hijikata, what are you doing? He'd recovered some, enough to move and speak without pain, but he was still confined to his bed. Or at least he was supposed to be. When I said you were healthy enough to get up, I didn't mean you were healthy enough to work. It'll only take a minute. I'm going back to bed as soon as I finish this. His voice was as dismissive as it had always been. He flicked a hand in my direction as if to brush me off. You nearly died. You need to rest. Died? Me? Ha! That was nothing. Barely a scratch. Barely a scratch? Do you know how long I've been taking care of you? He continued to write, not even bothering to look up. Gah, fine. I'd hoped for a little more contrition, but it appeared I was going to have to take what I could get. Well, at least let me put this on you. You're going to catch a chill. As I spoke, I draped his old jacket across his shoulders. As if you'd listen if I didn't let you. I'm glad to see you understand how this works. Now, as soon as you've finished that, you're going straight back into bed. And don't even think about working behind my back. I've got my eye on you. At last Hijikata turned and looked at me. His face quirked in a small, bitter smile. All right, fine. Sorry for putting you through all that trouble. He was more polite than I'd expected. Huh? Had I heard wrong? I stared back at him intently. Guess I should be thanking you and Shimada, eh? Well, I appreciate what you did. Thanks. Hijikata's thanks was rarely unaccompanied by cynicism, sarcasm, or outright derision, but this, what had come over him? He was strangely genuine. Something wrong? What, did I say something funny? Oh, Oh, no, it's not that. It was more that I'd never seen Hijikata act so nice. Later that night... So the commander's really back on his feet, said Shimada. I also heard he'd improved, so I thought I'd stop by and pay him a visit, said Otori. Good evening, Otori, Shimada. Hijikata is over. Before I could even finish, Shimada dashed past me to Hijikata's side. I'm so glad you're all right, sir. For a while there I really didn't know what was going to happen, said Shimada. Shimada's eyes began to tear up, and he blinked rapidly to clear them. Oh, come on, don't give me that, said Hijikata. You really think I'd die so easy? You're right. You'll never die, no matter what happens. Shimada rubbed his hand across his face awkwardly, trying to brush away the tears that refused to stop forming. Hijikata, said Otori, I'm going to be honest with you. You fought like a demon back at Utsunomiya. Morale is through the roof. The whole army won't stop talking about you. But your actions were dangerous and idiotic. You are a commanding officer, not a soldier. You don't belong on the front line. Otori, he's only just recovered, said Shimada. Don't you think you're being a little harsh? Oh no, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. I won't let this slide, said Otori. Listen to me, Hijikata. Westernizing our troops isn't just about giving them guns and new clothes. We have to change how we think about war. We have to learn new tactics. The commander charging at the front of the army does not show that we are improving our strategy. If the soldiers are the hands and feet, then their commanding officer is the head. If the head is removed, it doesn't matter how much of the body remains, the war will be lost. Hijikata's eyes went wide. Otori continued, oblivious, but I knew what Hijikata was thinking. What are you doing, Commander? You are the mind of the Shinsengumi. We're your arms and legs. Why are you running off to face the enemy alone? If you lose an arm or a leg, you can always replace it. But if you lose the head, you lose everything. The day Hijikata had become a fury, Yamazaki had said very nearly the same words to him. Almost feels like Yamazaki's come back to yell at me, huh? Said Hijikata. His words were to himself, and there was a faraway look in his eyes. Otori frowned, confused. Hey, Hijikata, what's so funny? This is serious, said Otori. Don't you understand how worried I was about you? How worried the whole army was about you? For a few moments he simply stared at Otori. Normally he would have fired back with sarcasm or perhaps outright insults if he was in a bad enough mood. But this... Say whatever you want, it won't change my mind, said Otori. It wasn't easy to seem threatening around someone like Hijikata, but he tried. You're right, Otori. I'm sorry for worrying you. He followed his surprisingly genuine apology with a similarly surprising bow. What? Said Otori. Otori had clearly prepared himself for a variety of reactions from Hijikata, but this had apparently not been one of them. For several moments he simply stood there, too flabbergasted to speak. My apologies to you too, Shimada. I hear you had to carry me all the way here. "Oh, no, it was nothing," said Shimada. "Anything for you, sir." Shimada seemed just as confused as Otori by Hijikata's sudden change. I didn't understand it either, but there was no denying that he was different. And that is the end of Chapter 7. Chapter 8, the penultimate chapter, is a big one, and I will get that ready ASAP. Thank you for listening. Please keep well. I'll see you next time.